Apple just leaked the iPhone 14, but not like that or like that, but this right here. Seriously. Apple's last event just gave us a great mix of new software and some brand new Mac hardware, and also a really good look at what is coming next very soon with this next generation of Macs, iPads, AirPods, and of course, the entire iPhone 14 lineup launching in just a few months from now. So as we always do here on the Apple Circle, let's break down the latest Apple leaks, news, rumors, everything you need to know that you probably missed from WWDC, and talk about the 8 biggest products launching soon and how Apple just sort of showed them off. Let me explain and show you what I mean. And a big thanks to ClickUp for sponsoring this video. Now, unfortunately, to the dismay of many, there was not some official iPhone 14 reveal at WWDC. That was something that Apple used to do many, many years ago, and that is no longer the case in sort of this modern era of Apple. But what we did get was a lot of sort of hints dropped and some clues that give us a really good idea of some new features that will be launching soon with this next generation iPhone 14 lineup, starting with one of the most exciting here with this all new always-on display mode. Now, if you have been sort of in the Apple rumor mill for a while, you've probably heard this rumor at least once or twice, especially last year. This was a huge rumor with the iPhone 13 Pro. It seemed like a done deal. It was going to be there. And then sort of at the last minute, it never happened. So what's the story? Well, we probably won't know why it didn't happen last year, but this year, it now seems like rumors are heating up that this is going to be an official feature for the iPhone 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max, basically allowing the display to go into a super low power mode, a low refresh rate mode, to show you some information always on the display. Basically, if you want to, the screen can never turn off and you can see some cool info at a glance. But as much sense as this made and as exciting as these rumors were, there were still a lot of questions as to how, practically speaking, this would work. Does the iPhone 14 Pro have the hardware to do it? How would the software work? What would you see? And while there is still a lot we don't know, there is more we actually do know thanks to this all-new lock screen customization that I think gives us a really good look at what this always-on display mode is basically going to look like when it launches in just a few months. Obviously, one of the cool things here is that you'll be able to customize your lock screen in a way you've never been able to do before with new animations and pictures and fonts and colors. It's going to be really, really cool. But there were a couple of instances here where you sort of saw a more dull version, a monochromatic version almost, that gave you an idea of what this would look like potentially in more of an ultra low power mode, that maybe that when you have your phone sitting on a table, you'll see your display really, really dimmed or maybe in a black and white mode. But then when you pick the phone up and maybe touch the screen or do something, your phone sort of springs to life. You get color on your display, the fonts sort of come to life, you get the real true image. That's something that would look really cool. Definitely sounds like something Apple would do. And if you wanted even more proof, 9to5Mac did some digging into iOS 16 Beta 1 and did find several references to an always-on display mode specific for the iPhone. Not talking about the Apple Watch, this is for the iPhone. In fact, they found ways that Apple developers, like internal Apple developers who are testing and building this stuff, can actually test this always-on mode on the current iPhones right now, like the 13 series, that might not have the fine-tuned hardware, but they can still sort of play around with this mode. Obviously, it's very unlike Apple to sort of make this a backwards compatible feature, so it's probably only going to be on the newer 14 Pro phones, but there definitely is a lot of evidence that this does exist and hopefully should be coming very soon. So hey Apple, thanks for a little bit of a preview. The other thing, of course, we've got to talk about is the notch on the top of the iPhone. Obviously, the 14 Pro and Pro Max will get a much smaller notch, basically this new double hole punch cutout. And through a lot of the demos, I still find it so funny how Apple specifically picks screenshots and sort of modes that gives a black sort of bar at the top to more elegantly hide the notch and keep it out of view. But I do think that this new lock screen that has all the colors and the images and the animations really lends itself to more screen real estate and sort of giving you more of your screen to work with. I think that this new sort of smaller double hole punch system is going to look really good, and Apple's going to love to show this off with this brand new redesigned lock screen with that notch removed from the top of the phone. Mostly. And speaking of the notch, one of the new features of Face ID in iOS 16 is the ability to unlock in both portrait and landscape mode. As of 2017, since Face ID launched, it only really worked on the iPhone in portrait mode, but now it looks like with iOS 16, it's officially going to work in landscape mode. Now, we haven't heard of any Face ID hardware changes specifically coming to the iPhone 14 Pro that's going to have this new double hole punch system, but I wonder if this sort of suggests that maybe an improvement is coming. Maybe it's going to be faster, maybe it's going to be more reliable, it's going to allow for better alternate appearances. Again, this is just wild speculation. I'm not sure if anything is going to change with Face ID, but the fact that it now works in landscape is super cool, and I'm curious if it's going to be even better with this new double hole punch system, specifically on the Pros. Also, with the debut of those new MacBook Airs and those color-matched MagSafe cables, I wonder if Apple would ever sell color-matched Lightning cables, or hopefully soon USB-C cables, with the future iPhone models sort of in the box. Next up, let's talk about the future of the Mac with the debut of this all-new M2 processor. Yes, it is finally here. This is the successor to the M1, and as rumors sort of suggested, it's a marginal update to the M1. 18% faster with CPU performance, up to 35% faster with GPU performance, more unified memory support. There's some nice niceties here with the M2 processor, and with the launch officially, we should be getting an all-new slew of M2 Macs. Obviously, we got the all-new redesigned MacBook Air, looks great. We also got a update to the 13-inch MacBook Pro, which was rumored, but the more I see it and the more I watch this demo over and over again, I still just don't understand exactly why it's here, who's buying it, especially when it's $100 more expensive than what's arguably a better computer with the MacBook Air. But setting those two laptops to the side for a moment, there are a number of other M2 Macs that should be coming to us very, very soon. Now that the MacBook Air redesign is complete, the other Mac that has Apple Silicon but is in desperate need of a redesign is this, the now tried, true, dare I say, iconic Mac Mini. This and the MacBook Air were the first two Macs to get the Apple Silicon treatment, and now that the MacBook Air has gotten a redesign, it's now the Mac Mini's turn to get a redesign. Rumors for this point to an exterior change on the outside, maybe with some new materials, a nice sort of industrial refined design, and maybe some colors. Though we did hear colors were coming to the MacBook Air, and that really didn't happen, not like the colorful palette that we have on the iMac and the iPad Air. So I'm skeptical to see if we'll see colors on the Mac Mini or not, but probably a color lineup very similar to that all-new MacBook Air. Before we continue with more on what is coming next from Apple, let's take a quick break because I want to show off an amazing service that is here to save you time, frustration, hassle, and ultimately just make you way more productive. And that, of course, is this video's sponsor, ClickUp. And the goal behind ClickUp is very simple and one that we can all get behind. It's all about reclaiming more of our precious time because ClickUp is here to fix the messy, broken productivity systems that we find ourselves using every single day. And ClickUp is here to deliver something that is truly unmatched and really incredible. ClickUp is the one tool that houses all of your tasks, projects, docs, goals, spreadsheets, and so much more. No longer are you gonna waste time jumping between different apps or trying to find that file across multiple services. Now with ClickUp, it's all done in one place, under one digital roof, and it is packed with customization options that no other productivity tool has, so you can ultimately just work your best. And personally here at the Apple Circle, I can attest to what a mess multiple apps can be. We had a chat app, we had a file sharing app, we had a docs app, we had an app for reviewing videos and photos, and it just got really messy really fast. But with ClickUp, we could bring it all under one digital roof, have everything in one place, and ultimately it just really sped up our production pipeline and really just made us way more efficient and gave us all back so much more time. I love that I can go from easily seeing all my tasks at a glance to jumping into docs and working on a script. In fact, what you're hearing right now, this entire integration here, was written right inside the docs inside of ClickUp. So here you go, you can check it out in action. So if you guys want to learn more about ClickUp and get started for yourself today, just hit that link right down below to learn more and use code AppleCircle to get 15% off ClickUp's massive unlimited plan for a year, meaning you can start to reclaim your time for under $5 a month. I'm a huge fan of ClickUp. I love it. I know you guys will love it as well. So again, get started and learn more for yourself today by clicking the link right down below. I'd also expect the iMac to get an update as well. No major redesign here because the iMac just got a major redesign not too long ago, but it probably will get refreshed at some point with the M2 inside, replacing the M1. For the MacBook Pro, these are running on Apple's more Pro chips, so I think it's just gonna stick with the M1 Pro and M1 Max until we see the successors in the M2 variants come. Not sure when that's gonna happen. And also, that sort of leads us to the Mac Pro. What happened to that, and when is it actually going to come? According to rumors, there is a very good chance that we are going to get a teaser of the Mac Pro and maybe even a new Studio Display Pro at WWDC on June 6th. And obviously, well, that event is over and there was no preview to be seen. So as of right now, we don't know exactly when that's going to come. There were some sort of last minute rumors that the Studio Display Pro, this 27-inch, presumably mini LED ProMotion panel, was delayed. So maybe that pushed things back just a bit. And we know the Mac Pro is coming. Apple did reference that a new Apple Silicon Mac Pro is coming. So it's still on the radar, but we haven't seen it just yet. And Apple could do a few things here. They could sort of save this for another event, maybe sometime in the fall, then show it off and then release it. They could do maybe a teaser at an event, or with this new Mac Pro, they could sort of maybe do a teaser as sort of a press release, maybe release this on their website as a teaser, and then start taking pre-orders sometime later on this year, or if not next year. Apple, with the last Mac Pro, sort of did a teaser, they showed it off, then they released it several months later, so that would probably be the case here as well. And inside this thing should be the all-new, super powerful M2 Extreme, and details on that are still TBD. A few other important tidbits here worth noting is that 9to5Mac did also find references in iOS 16 to new unreleased HomePod hardware, so a new HomePod update might be coming, and this might be actually the successor to the larger HomePod. Apple actually might be bringing back a new version of that larger smart speaker with really good audio fidelity. And also, we got some tidbits on watchOS, specifically that watchOS 9 will not be compatible with the Apple Watch Series 3, which almost basically confirms the rumor that the Series 3 will be sort of put out to pasture and be discontinued this fall with the launch of the Series 8 and an all-new Apple Watch SE 2. Those should sort of come, give you a really good comprehensive watch lineup, and finally get rid of the older design and the smaller screen with the Series 3. So new watches are coming. Do not buy a Series 3, maybe a new HomePod sometime early next year in the beginning of 2023. Also, let's talk a minute about new AirPods Pro 2, because we know these are coming. They are going to be a huge upgrade to the current AirPods Pro that launched all the way back in 2019, and they should be really good. They should have higher fidelity wireless audio streaming. They should have better battery life, hopefully better noise cancellation and transparency modes and stuff like that. And also, one of the rumors here is built-in health sensors into these new buds of AirPods Pro 2. And we don't know what sensors or how this would work, but after watching that keynote a few times, a couple of things stood out to me that gives me some good clues on what to expect with AirPods Pro 2. Most notably here is the fact that Apple is opening up activity rings and other Apple Fitness features that were typically just on the Apple Watch now to anyone with an iPhone. So they're sort of opening up the ecosystem so others can sort of jump on the ring bandwagon and get healthy and sort of get an estimation of calories and all that stuff. And Apple said it's going to start by sort of using the built-in tools in the iPhone and giving you estimation. So obviously they know that not everybody has an Apple Watch or wants to wear an Apple Watch, so they're trying to open this up. I think that AirPods Pro 2 will sort of take this a step further and build in some health fitness tracking or some sensors into the buds themselves, basically allowing you to have Apple Watch level tracking, or mostly Apple Watch level tracking, without having to wear an Apple Watch on your wrist. This would be really nice if you just don't like the Apple Watch, you've got another watch you prefer, you just don't like anything on your wrist at all. I'm curious to see what kind of health tracking will be built in these new buds, but it seems like Apple is going to sort of make health and fitness a bigger part of the Apple ecosystem and less dependent on the Apple Watch as it currently is. So I'd expect some sort of new tie-in with these all new AirPods Pro 2. So as always, guys, I'm curious, what are your thoughts on WWDC 2022, and specifically, what did you notice, what did you catch that might have been a reference, a little nod to some new Apple hardware coming later this year? Did you catch any clues or hints about the iPhone 14? Are you excited to see this always-on display mode finally come this year? Knock on wood, hopefully. And what are your thoughts on the new M2 Max, the delay of the headset? What are you most looking forward to or not? Let me know your thoughts down below to all this stuff. And as always, I really appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much for watching the Apple Circle. I appreciate it. I'm Robert Rosenfeld, and I'll see you all in the next one.